whatever it takes to stop the flow of people coming across the border right now has to be done for the survival of America.
We need to get them removed because they're taking over our community as strangers from Mexico and wherever else they come from.
No sé por qué ellos se empeñan a agarrarnos o tomar ese odio entre nosotros los migrantes.
I think the American people are going to get fed up enough that they're going to begin taking vigilante style, the law into their own hands.
This particular group has defined immigrants as enemies.
La presencia de los casamigrantes para nuestra comunidad significa la expresión del racismo extremo.
If you have an issue with immigration policy, it should be settled in a different manner, but not taking arms and going to the border.
So here we are, International Avenue, where I like to consider my little playground when we used to come and visit my grandfather. And if you just look at the gigantic steel fence, you can see a huge difference from what it was like when we were growing up here. This actually used to be a lot more foliage around. It's been stripped bare so people can't hide as well. Nowadays, it's really hard to have that same kind of experience of just being in a backyard. Instead, now it feels more like you're in a war zone.
11% of the current population in the United States are migrants. And we have to look at migrants today as we've always looked at them in this country, as people who are coming here to not only better their life, but also to contribute to the development of this country.
Fue en el año de 1992 y la razón fundamental fue la falta de recursos económicos. Somos una familia campesina en el estado de Guanajuato, una zona rural, y nuestra alimentación dependía de la siembra temporal. Se terminó el rendimiento de la tierra y nos vimos forzados a migrar.
Yo quería ir a Estados Unidos porque tengo ganas de ir a trabajar, sí, tengo ganas de salir adelante. ¿Y por qué Estados Unidos? Porque, bueno, de hecho sabemos que su economía es bastante buena y hay muchas posibilidades.
Mi propósito y mi deseo era cruzar a tierras norteamericanas para buscar una solución, pues sabemos que allá se gana un poco mejor.
The reason why people are being forced to cross out in the middle of the desert is the change in immigration policy that has occurred since the mid-90s. And because of that, because of the need, or the desire, I should say, not even the need, but to close off the cities and to force people out in the middle of the deserts, these bureaucrats in Washington, D.C. thought that the immigrants would say to themselves, make a cost-benefit analysis and say, well, it's not worth the risk of dying, so let me just go home. But what they failed to realize is the situation where these people are coming from, and that they're seeing their children go without food, they're seeing their children not being able to go to school and have to go out in the fields and work.
Quiero sacar adelante a mi familia también porque por lo menos tengo hijos y pues ellos necesitan también. Y pues por la miseria que vivimos allá he dejado a ellos allá y todo, pues para salir adelante, para que ellos no sufran lo que uno ha sufrido de antes. Entonces me ha tocado que dejarlos a ellos, o sea, a mi hijo allá, y para salir adelante, sacarlo adelante, pagarle el estudio para que él pueda estudiar. Porque si estoy allá puede ser de que no no le pueda dar estudio, entonces a eso vengo a Estados Unidos.
You can do a correlation between the passage of NAFTA, the loss of agrarian lifestyle and sustainability for farmers in Mexico, the loss of manufacturing jobs, the loss of basic economies, and the correlation is since NAFTA, the need for people to leave their country. And so they're going somewhere so they can feed their country. It's a basic, fundamental human instinct to survive.
People who support the militarization of the border tend to take the nationalist argument that they're just protecting their country, protecting it from anybody who could be coming across. But when you sit down and talk to them a little bit more and you try to analyze where their sentiments are coming from, you start seeing a little bit more rhetoric towards people from the South. And when you start picking away at the surface, you get at the deeper core issue, which is the problem of the attitude towards people who are perceived to be different from themselves.
Securing the border, in my opinion, is one of the ways to secure the American way. And that's why I'll back up ranch rescue, civil homeland defense, and American Border Patrol. I believe in the American way, and I believe in the American people. I don't want all the lives of the people who fought for this great country to go down the tubes.
What does an American person mean to you? Who are the American people?
The American people are the people who speak English, learn our culture, our background, and so on.
And so it's my belief, my knowledge in all that is right, in state law, in federal law, and in biblical law, everybody coming across the border is a thief and a robber.
Some people try to equate me with the biological racism. I'm a cultural racist. I believe people have to take cultural responsibility. By culture, I mean pattern perception or symbolic interpretation. And we have a different symbolic interpretation of our symbols and our logic on this side of the border than they have on their side of the border.
The process of militarization has been around the U.S.-Mexico border for many generations. Along the process of militarization, we've also witnessed paramilitary activity. These two processes have unleashed a human rights nightmare along the U.S.-Mexico border.
514 is going to be your area interpreter genealogy.
Another. Another group come through here, but none of them are fresh.
It was scary to think that in a post-9/11 world that our government was not doing enough to seal the border. I put together a front-page article. Enough is enough, a citizen border patrol militia now formed. So we're a neighborhood watch group. We're no different than a neighborhood watch group in many cities around this country.
Trace! Mañana 3, man.
We had this guy yesterday.
I told you!
And he's here
No
again.
más! Vigilantes get you, man. I win again. I told you go somewhere else. Don't come here. Well, another night on the border.
Large group, like Gringo. I guess.
Oh, don't be shy, guys. You'll be on my newspaper this week.
An individual, a private citizen, if they go up to you and say, stop, you can't move, that's an arrest. And whether it's, just by pointing a gun, obviously, but even if it's not pointing a gun, if they stop you and say, we're not going to let you leave, that's an arrest. That's an imprisonment, and there are torts for that, and they can be criminally prosecuted.
Frankly, when you talk about individuals who are not from your area, coming from somewhere else, armed, with no regulation, no guidelines, no supervision. There is a mixture for danger and violence.
Let's look at the facts. No immigrant, illegal or legal, coming across that border has ever been harmed by an American citizen. There's not a documented account since 1976. There have been some wild allegations made, but there's not one victim.
We did a public records request and a FOIA request a few months back to get information on incidents happened between border crossers and vigilantes. And from that, we got stacks of information of incidents that have occurred.
Fuimos detenidos por dos personas que cuando yo las vi, no vi que portaran el traje de inmigración. Tomó esta persona de los cabellos a mi compañera, así en un tono agresivo, y la levantó y directamente le puso la pistola en una costilla. Por lo que me platicó el muchacho, dice que lo subió a su moto. Buscó los lugares en donde había mucho matorral, mucha hierba con espina y todo eso. Al momento de entrar en todo el matorral, las ramas se le venían enfrente a mi compañero, porque él iba enfrente de la moto. Y pues él empezó a ser arañado, cosa que en este caso a la otra persona, a esta que lo llevaba, no le importó. Simplemente pues dice que al momento pues, como que vio que se divertía.
All people who are present in the United States are protected by the Constitution. And the Constitution doesn't just protect people who are citizens or just people who are here who have legal status. So immigrants who are in the United States, even those who are undocumented, have a right to due process, they have a right to equal protection of the laws, and they have a right to protection under the Fourth Amendment to be free of unreasonable search and seizures and arrests and imprisonment.
Law enforcement, quite frankly, is shutting their eyes to what is going on out there. And the reason is simple. They're doing it because of the political sentiment and the anti-immigrant sentiment that exists out there today.
And now we see individuals coming down here, for instance, in April, the Minuteman Project. You have people who want to come down here and patrol the border. The white supremacist websites are going crazy talking about this issue. And I have no doubt in my mind that there will be white supremacists here hunting for migrants in April.
The Minuteman Project is our next message to President Bush to do his job. The reason why we're doing this, again, it's a mass political protest. Right now we have almost 2,000 people that are coming here in April, and we're going to have a huge protest on the border.
It's a bunch of civilians coming down here to participate in sealing off these borders and showing the government that we can do it. And ultimately to give the 180 million people, 240 million people in the United States who want our borders secured, according to polls, give them one word: hope.
Yeah, we're out here actually passing the plant where my grandfather used to work at. So this is the area where the Minutemen are going to be patrolling. It's right in my backyard, where a lot of my family ties are. There to Richard, I'll be back at the border station in about 40 minutes, but I tell people to be ready to come out here in the desert. Over. Then they wanted to come out and hunt some people early, so they're here, so are we. So we have a group of legal observers out here, and what we're doing is we're deterring any abuse by our presence. So we're sitting behind the Minutemen with video cameras, two-way radios, and the thought is if they do come upon somebody, they're going to be less likely to do any violence to them because we're here. And secondly, we're also highlighting the real problem on the border, which is the needless suffering and death of human beings who are coming across.
We're all right.
How you doing, gentlemen?
Good, how you doing?
All right. Heard you got two.
Who are you?
Legal observers. How about you?
Well, we didn't get anything. There's two gentlemen sitting down over here. They're waiting for BP.
Los pies se le avejigaron abajo. Se hicieron amplios. Los pies ya no los puedo mover. O sea, ya no me aguanto.
Sí.
Y luego tengo un dolor en Pues porque no tenemos allá recursos. Son muy malos empleos pagados allá.
No paga nada allá.
Sí, pero bien barato. Y no solicitaron trabajo y muchos requisitos piden y al final.
Sí.
Por eso es que pues, no viene uno por gusto, es por necesidad.
Sí, sí.
Y pues se arriesga uno todo, la vida.
Qué malo, y tiene que sufrir tanto nomás para trabajar.
Well, from the time that the Minuteman Project was announced late last year, the Southern Poverty Law Center's intelligence project began tracking the efforts of white power, white supremacist, neo-Nazi, and other what we label hate groups to openly recruit their members to join the Minuteman Project. The second group of men that I walked by who were sitting in lawn chairs at the protest rally, who called me over and said, hey, we're National Alliance. You know, are you National Alliance? Are you white power? What are you doing here? You know, and they very quickly confided in me the fact that they had assault rifles in the back of their SUV and that they were trying to organize a white power patrol group. They were all viewing the Minuteman Project as very fertile recruiting ground. As one member of the Aryan Nations put it, most of the people there at the Minuteman Project, if they're not already members of a hate group, they're half awake, and we can bring them to full awakeness.
We are on the front lines of freedom right now. Our very republic is teetering on the edge. The future for our posterity is in jeopardy now. We must secure our American borders now.
They were here saying that they were concerned because of people coming, terrorists, and I truly believe that they came and terrorized our community.
You know, yeah, some of us wear guns, but isn't it in the Constitution? Everybody wants to say, oh, we got free speech, we got free speech. Well, I got the right to carry a gun, you know. I was trained to use it by the military. It's my right.
And as far as people being afraid, yes, they are afraid because we have children out here. We have a lot of kids. We have our family out here. And what happens if they decide to go ahead and take laws into their own hand and something happens to one of our kids?
Based in the legendary town of Tombstone, organizers expect as many as 1,500 volunteers. Stationed at intervals along 50 miles of the Mexico-Arizona border, they will attempt to detect and report anyone crossing illegally.
We're a neighborhood watch group. Nothing more than a neighborhood watch group who are doing nothing but what the President and the Department of Homeland Security ask Americans to do.
It was interesting for me to note how aware the not only the Minuteman Project leaders, but also the soldiers, if you will, the volunteers, the volunteer vigilantes, how aware they were of the need to put on a politically correct face for the media so as to advance their agenda of mainstreaming a violent response to immigration issues. They were all aware of the need to play the media game, and they played it fairly well.
All right, now let's talk a little bit about the Minuteman Project. We know that they protected that 20-some-odd mile stretch of Arizona, and now they are joining up forces with California's Friends of the Border Patrol, and they've got their sights on a stretch of land near San Diego.
Yeah, they got about, what do they have, about 500 these FBF, Friends of the Border Patrol, and Minutemen have 850, so now they're going to combine forces and try to keep California safe, and it's kind of friendly territory because Governor Schwarzenegger has said, I'm for if the Minuteman Project want to come to our neck of the woods.
Being out there as a legal observer, I noticed the true motivations of the Minutemen, the fear and paranoia. Unfortunately, that wasn't covered by the media. The media bought into their rhetoric of it being about national security. And I think this resulted in the public and elected officials getting a false idea of what the Minuteman Project was really about.
the largest union for the Border Patrol agents, has endorsed the Minuteman Project. So what you keep on hearing is that they aren't helping. The official word is that they aren't helping us. They're causing a disturbance. They're tripping sensors. But when it comes down to the people who have to actually enforce our laws, they're saying, we like it. No, bring more.
One guy took off running. And so the Border Patrol, asked us, find this other guy. And we're just like, hey, it's your gig, dude. And he took off running after the other guy. And he ended up catching him not too far. So brought him back. And he asked us, because the one guy already did run, he asked us if we'd, at least keep an eye on him while he walked the two back. So we did. Just for the interest in the safety of that officer.
Yeah. The guy must have been pretty grateful you guys were out here.
Yeah, the Border Patrol really enjoyed out here. It makes their job a lot easier.
Border communities are concerned about the recent support that Governor Schwarzenegger from California offered to the vigilantes. He applauded their efforts. He invited them to come to California and to continue the paramilitary movement that has spread across the entire border area. We are also hearing now that Commissioner Bonner, who heads the Bureau of Customs and Border Protection within the Department of Homeland Security, is exploring the possibility of utilizing civilians to help curtail the flow of undocumented migrants into the United States.
We are ambassadors from our communities, from our states, from all 49 other states.
Yes!
The impression that we leave on this great state of Arizona is going to be a lasting one.
Yes.
So, we're winning. We are growing in numbers. 18 Minuteman chapters in Texas alone. We're going to 3 chapters in New Mexico. We got other chapters in California, Michigan, Minnesota, Utah, Idaho, Ohio, Canada, New Hampshire, Vermont. Thousands of Americans around the country who will have no problem drowning out this kind of anti-American sentiment any day of the week. We're going to send President Bush, Congress, the Senate, and everyone a message that this is our country. And by the way, it'd be a whole lot easier to figure out what the hell they're saying if they'd speak the national language, which is English.
We cannot permit individuals to take their prejudice and deny people dignity and deny people their rights.
No significa que por el hecho de que no seamos de ahí no podamos ejercer nuestros derechos humanos, sino que los derechos humanos tú los puedes ejercer en todos lados.
Border communities are coming together to defend our dignity, to defend our rights, and to finally speak out. We will not remain silent as vigilantes and policymakers disrupt our daily lives on this border.
Vigilantes shouldn't come down to our community to hunt for people who look like us. Instead, they should redirect their anger towards the real problems. Our failed economic policies, the militarization of the border that have wasted millions of dollars and killed thousands of people. And when we start getting at the real problems, then we can start developing real solutions.
This is a united land. We're fronteras unidas, we're gente unida. We're not going to tolerate this type of racist behavior with these vigilante groups.
Hacemos nosotros un llamado a la acción, un llamado a organizarnos, a la unidad, a la lucha por la dignidad humana.